Hi, everybody. I am going to send out this video to try to make things easier. I'm trying to keep things easy for you and for me, and it has just been nuts. Never had a year like this ever in my 29, 30 years of teaching. So this has just been crazy for everybody. So we'll try to get through Othello. I'm glad I got to enjoy the play with you for the most part. And I really hope you guys enjoyed the play too. If you are still lost, if you did not read, if you only read parts, I would really suggest watching the movie. You can find it on Amazon Prime. I think you can rent it for $2.99, which, is money, but, you can get the whole play read, watched in 2.5 hours. And at least you're going to be able to see the facial expressions. You're going to be able to see how this play was intended to be acted out. And I think that's kind of important when we are talking about a Shakespeare play. Okay. So today's Tuesday. You're going to watch this video and you're going to work on your paper. Excuse me. That's the plan for today. So you gave me access to your pre-writing, which, sorry, I haven't looked at, but I'm getting to them. I will, I promise. So that's what you're going to be doing for today. Tomorrow, also working on the paper, and I'm going to send out a sort of study video for the Othello test. So I'll do that for you tomorrow. Thursday, if you want 5 points extra credit, you can push yourself to get this paper done by Thursday, but you do not have to. So this is reward if you do, but don't make it a terrible paper. Don't do it just for the extra credit, because then it's just going to be a wash. So if the paper's done, complete, proofread, ready for grading, because I know there were plenty of times when some of you had like Act 3 done a week before it was due. So I know there were plenty of you who were reading and, working on things. You understood everything. And so I think you should be rewarded for that. And it's not a punishment if you're not, but, just a reward if you are. So there's that. Now, I'm going to send the take-home test on Thursday. So you do not have to open it, look at it, even do it until after the paper. So all that work for Othello, the Act 1 work, the Act 2 work, the Act 3 work, the Act 4 work, the Act 5 work, was all a way to study. It was all intended to be study material. And then when you did the proofreading or pre-writing, and then you did the Othello paper, that also is a way to study. And once you've got all of those things done, then you're ready for the test because you have done all that studying. Friday, if you have your paper done, you get 3 points extra credit. But again, don't push it if you're not ready. It's a reward if you are, but it's not a punishment if you're not. Okay? And then the paper is due at 10 a.m. before our last Zooms ever, because we'll all be together the following Monday. I think. I hope I have that right. And the test is due. Now, I take things late, but that is the date and the time when everything gets turned over to Miss Hunt, and she's going to start your next book. So if you procrastinate on this stuff, and I know that sounds negative, or maybe not even procrastinate, but you're just kind of behind and you're working on it and it's taking you a while, I will take it late, but just remember that we're going on and doing new things. Okay. So I wanted to talk about the importance of a cuckold in Othello. And Lydia, in 7th period, asked me about Othello becoming an animal. And I started thinking about that over the weekend. I had lots of time to think. That's not much time to do. I started thinking about a cuckold, and I'm like, we never really talked about that. So I wanted to talk about the history of the cuckold. because there's one line in Othello where Othello says, "Cuckold me?" Yeah. Anyway, so a cuckold. So a cuckold is the term for a man with an unfaithful wife. And it is a very shameful and humiliating term for a man. And no man wanted to be called a cuckold. It goes all the way back to early medieval times. And a cuckold, well, it comes from the word cuckoo, meaning like the cuckoo bird. And I believe the cuckoo bird, they will hop nests. So it kind of came from there. It's kind of an interesting thing, like where this term came from. Of course, you can go with the first 4 letters and get the more bawdy term. But yeah, it does come from the cuckoo bird, nest hopping, and it is the term for the man in when his wife is cheated on him. Now, what's the big deal? Well, in those times, and that was long before we knew better, men were supposed to control their wives. Thank goodness we're past that. But and it was very demasculating, very degrading for a man to have a wife who was out of control. So it was a very big deal. And it might indicate that a man was impotent. Well, family meant everything in those days. Family meant everything for the poor. Family meant everything for the rich. So very, very important. So either one of those things, either one of those reasons would be, just something for a man to hang his head in shame over. Okay, so ram's horns is a universal symbol for a cuckold. So they always describe, if you Google image a cuckold, you can see a symbol of a man with horns. Now, ram's horns, associated with strength, power, and supremacy, along with procreative vigor. So there's lots of other horn symbols. Rhinoceros horns. We still have a black market for rhinoceros horns in some places in Asia, and so it's really fascinating to look at the symbolism of the horn, but way too many. So you can always study that on your own, but it's actually pretty cool. But the ram's horn is the one I want to focus on because Othello was called an old black ram. So we'll talk about that in a minute. So this is why Othello would have been so worried about being cuckolded. If he had any self-doubt at the beginning, and that is open for interpretation, was he confident in himself or was he not confident in himself? And that's open. I know what I believe. I do not believe he was as confident as he made himself seem, but you can definitely disagree because you have just as much footing as I have to prove that. So if Desdemona would have turned from him so quickly, that would have just been devastating for him. So the worship of ram's horns has roots in paganism. Now, the Christian church tried to get rid of all pagan worship. They didn't succeed because we still celebrate Christmas, but that's another issue. But they began depicting the devil with horns. So this becomes something else that's really, really interesting in the play. Follow along here. Okay, so Othello was described as less than human many, many times. So I pulled out this from Act 1, Scene 1, when Iago says, an old black ram is tupping your you. So he's called an old black ram right at the beginning. And then how many times was he called the devil? So I pulled out Amelia's line from Act 5, the more angel she, and you, the blacker devil. In both cases, an old black ram, ram's horns, a cuckold. And you, the blacker devil, the horns. So Othello being less than human is reinforced by his fear of being a cuckold. So both of these comparisons already would make him feel like, even though he didn't hear this one, he had to know what people were saying about him. Excuse me. So, this just reinforces that fear of him being a cuckold. He was so afraid of being humiliated. Now, I pulled out some quotes from the play about a cuckold. So this is Iago's lines to Rodrigo. And he says, this is, put money in thy purse. This is right after that. And he tells Rodrigo, my cause is hearted, thine hath no less reason. Let us be conjunctive in our revenge against him. If thou canst cuckold him, thou dost thyself a pleasure, me a sport. There are many events in the womb of time which will be delivered. Oh, I love that image. Traverse, go, provide thy money. We will have more of this tomorrow. Adieu. So being a cuckold will bring a humiliation on Othello, and everyone knows it. Let me go back here for a minute. I thought I had an explanation, but I guess I don't. So when he says, if thou canst cuckold him, thou dost thyself a pleasure, me a sport. Oh my goodness. So yeah, if we can cuckold him, he's telling Rodrigo, you're going to get your pleasure and I'm going to get my sport. And this is the plan. And this is what we're going to do. Now, that's going to bring this humiliation on Othello. It's also going to put Desdemona in the crosshairs, but that's really not on Iago's radar right now. Another quote was the green-eyed monster quote. Oh, beware, my lord, of jealousy. It is the green-eyed monster which doth mock the meat it feeds on. That cuckold lives in bliss, who's certain of his fate, loves not his wronger. But oh, what damn minutes tell he over who dotes yet doubts, suspects yet strongly loves. I hope I'm not butchering this. So to rephrase those lines, the man who knows his wife is cheating on him is happy because at least he isn't friends with the man she's sleeping with. But think of the unhappiness of a man who worships his wife yet doubts her faithfulness. He suspects her but still loves her. Iago's talent is making Othello believe lies and not believe the truth. And this is what is great about Iago. He would tell the truth. Oh, you have to be careful of me. Sometimes my thoughts aren't so good. He told Othello that, and Othello still, honest Iago. Iago has a talent for making people doubt the truth. So he's making Othello feel that by worshiping his wife, and Othello does, those two lines, when he comes aboard or comes on land in Cyprus, and he, his first words to Desdemona, so important. He worships her. And he's just telling him that by worshiping your wife, you're not going to see what's really going on with her. And then Othello himself says in Act 4, I will chop her into messes. Cuckold me. This is what he says about the wife that he loves. I will chop her into messes if she cuckolds me. So think about Othello's personality. How dare her disrespect me like that? I will chop her into messes. That's his first reaction when he really thinks about what may happen or what may be going on, that Desdemona disrespected him like that. Finally, there's Amelia's thoughts about a cuckold. Amelia tells tells Desdemona, when Desdemona says, would you ever cheat? And she says, well, of course I would. And Desdemona says, I don't think you would. And she's like, of course I would. And she says, would you do it for all the world? And Amelia says, in troth, I think I should, and undo it when I had done. Mary, I would not do such a thing for a joint ring, nor for measures of lawn, nor for gowns, petticoats, nor caps, nor any petty exhibition, but for the whole world. Why, who would not make her husband a cuckold to make him a monarch? I should venture purgatory for it. Poor Amelia, she would do anything. Whoops. I guess I didn't do that. Hang on here. I thought I put a big deal slide in there, but I guess I didn't. Wait a minute, maybe I did. Nope, guess I didn't. Okay, so here, Amelia's saying, that label of shame is probably shouldn't be a big deal. We all do things, but she would do anything for her husband. And maybe because Amelia lived in humiliation all the time, her husband was not nice to her. Maybe that is why she would do this for her husband. Let him live in shame for a while in order to become rich. I don't know, but I hope that kind of explains things. So Lydia, you had a really good question about what it meant for Othello to be less than human. And I think this whole idea of cuckold is definitely part of it. Okay, so final information here. You can request a Zoom conference for your paper. If you're not embarrassed to do it in study hall or, out in your car, if you have AP Lounge or whatever, you can request a Zoom conference with me over the next few days for your paper, and I'll be glad to answer any questions for you. It can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 40 minutes. It doesn't really matter to me. I may have to double up if people want the same time, but I can go ahead and schedule a Zoom for you. Lord knows I have the time. So yeah, and you can get some one-on-one help for your paper, and I hope you'll take me up on that. So of course you're going to watch the video for the test. You've got to take responsibility here. I'm putting a lot of responsibility on your shoulders because I can't be there right now, but you can do this and you've got this, and you're going off to college in just a few months, or getting a job, like a good job, or you are heading out into the world. So take some responsibility. And I think you're going to be glad you did. Now work at your own pace. So don't work for the extra credit points, because they'll become moot if you lose a bunch of points in the paper because you went to get the extra credit points. But you don't want to procrastinate. Okay. So if you're going to write the whole paper in one night, like Sunday night at 3 a.m., then why not do it tonight? It's the difference. And then you can get help on a Zoom and we can work on the paper. So don't procrastinate, but also don't push yourself to try to do something that you're not ready for. So I hope this calms your fears. Worry less about things. Yes, I am getting things graded, and I should be able to get started on that today. At least I can see my face swelled up. Like, how they say COVID gives different symptoms to everybody? My face swelled up. I looked like I got stung by a bee and had mumps at the same time. It was unbelievable. I would show you the picture from Saturday, but it's too embarrassing. So my facial swelling is down. I am on oxygen at home. It's not on now, but so I was able to sleep last night for the first time and in days, and I'm feeling a lot better. So hopefully you will take me up on a Zoom conference for your paper. And I really look forward to that. I hope you like the play. It's one of my favorites. It's so relevant when you think about what a rumor can do to somebody, and how a rumor can just destroy people. You look at what's going on with Cuomo in New York. This happened with Brett Kavanaugh, two Supreme Court judges ago. you look at what rumors can do to people. And is it the truth or is it a rumor? And nobody knows except those people. And, how do we figure out who's good and who's bad? It's so difficult. So anyway, I hope you really like the play. I hope this helped. And I hope to see you soon.